Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. My book, Race Pimping. You can get it at racepimping.com. I was doing a segment on Fox over the weekend and talking about Sharptons now, because we know, what was his name, Michael Wilbon of ESPN. He came out and said, Jerry Jones is, I'm just going to say it. Jerry Jones has this, plantation mentality or something like that. Do we have that clip? We don't have it. Okay, no problem. Yeah. So anyway, Wilbon alludes to the plantation mentality of Jerry Jones. So Sharpton comes out and he says essentially the same thing. And what's funny is you can almost bet that Sharpton looked at this and said, hey, this is a way for me to jump back on the whole racism bandwagon. So he did. And now Al Sharpton makes the same comment. So I go on Fox and Friends and they say, Kevin, what do you think about that? I'm like, hey, look, in fact, I'll just give you guys a little inside baseball. I sent Fox a note. I said, look, guys, as much as I enjoy talking about the subject of race, I talk about it a lot, needless to say. I feel like you got to give me more to do here. I don't want to just talk about race. These things have such a bigger implication. And so when I covered the segment, I go, you know what, I'm not even going to cover this seriously. They had David Webb on the show. David knows how to talk about race. He's a sharp guy. We talk about things differently, but he can handle that. America can handle that. What a buffoon it is for Al Sharpton to go, Donald Trump is, not Donald Trump, Jerry Jones, he's a racist and he's got a plantation mentality. Because I started the segment off by saying, where do I sign up? I will gladly go to that plantation at Valley Ranch and be a member of Jerry Jones's, what do you want to call me? Make me a slave? And I said, using that mentality that Jerry Jones telling his players what they can or cannot do is a slave mentality is akin to saying everybody who works in corporate America is a slave. Now, I personally believe to some degree we are all slaves. If you're working in corporate America, if you're not working for yourself, you're a slave. That's okay. We can define slavery in degrees. Slavery in the old days when black people were working, that was the worst it can get. That was when people treated you like crap. You had no insurance. You didn't get to take a break. And they fed you what they fed you. Now you're a slave, but at least you get a chance to set your standards. Isn't it true? Technically, we're all slaves. So if that's the case, I'd rather be that slave because, see, that's the highest level slave in the slavery chain you can be, is to be a dude who's got an agent who goes out and gets him a multi-million-dollar deal. And what's he do for a living? He takes care of himself. You make me a slave. And so I jokingly said this because, get this, folks, millions of people, certainly more than at any time during Barack Obama's administration, millions of people under Donald Trump get up every morning and they go to their slave jobs where they have a thing called an employee handbook, an employee manual given out by a human resources department, what they call them now, people department, people managers. And these people managers say, here are the rules. And the rules are, you must show up on time. You must leave at a specific time. You can take breaks at this time. You have a lunch period that's this long. And this is what's expected of you in your job description. And so there's all kinds of rules. And these people, these leftists act as if, well, why are they going to go setting all these rules for black folks? They're setting rules for everybody, by the way. And speaking of these millions and millions, tens of millions of people who go to work every day in this country, speaking of them, the black folks that go to work every day in this country, they don't go to work and go, I'm going to go to work. I'm lucky to have made it here because of police oppression. And then when I get to work, I'm going to kneel. And I'm going to kneel during the workday as a protest to the brothers and sisters who are out there being killed by cops. They go to work, if they're smart, to do their job to the best of their abilities. If you want to protest something outside the fact, go for it. But on the work time, there is no responsibility of an employer to say, I'm going to indulge your social justice warriorhood so you can come in here and disrupt my job. or disrupt the jobs of others, but you're certainly disrupting my business. So these guys come in here, you can't get away with this anywhere else. But what do? We look the other way. Because why? They're multimillionaire professional football players or basketball players or whatever. They're employees of a corporation. See, I keep coming back to that point because that's an important point. These are employees of a corporation. No more, no less. They just make a lot of money. And you can't, I'd love to see the greeter at Walmart, some black person kneeling as you come in talking about, police abuse and all that. Trust me, they find another person to do it. And believe it or not, these high, caliber athletes, they can be replaced. I will tell you this. I think more Americans are willing to watch these guys get put in their place. I would watch substandard football, that doesn't meet the normal thing. In fact, I'd probably have more fun doing that because I'd be like, man, I might be able to get out there and play. We'll get out of here. I don't need to see, Cam Newton. Yeah, okay, so what? He's a stud. To make a point, more Americans I think would watch quote scrub football than they would these professional baby. Well, I was gonna, there are more people that will watch us, normal guys play than will watch them. Or it'll do what it does. The sport will just go downhill. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about necessarily, because the thing that got me because I wanted to talk about courage and the definition, but I'm going to save that because we got a little bit more time with this subject. But the idea is that Colin Kaepernick is showing some sort of courage. And I find that just amazing that's, a guy who is adopted by a white family who raises him and has obviously got racial issues, color issues, because he doesn't know what he wants to be. And it's courageous of him to get on a knee and say, look at all the oppression that's happening to my brothers and sisters or whatever. First of all, who are your brothers and sisters? The half black, half Italian people of the world? There's not that many. And we talking about the Italians or are we talking about the blacks? Or are we talking about the oppression of the white family who raised you and all the scrutiny they have to go through as to why is this kid revolting? Why is he rebelling? He's got no reason to rebel. I tell you what, Colin Kaepernick, I've got about 100 kids every year that we get adopted who would love to have had your upbringing. And I don't think they're going to be leading up in the life, getting older and going, oh, it's a terrible thing that happened to me. We have a video of a little girl who finds out that she's going to be adopted. I wish everybody could see that video. She jumps into the arms of the administrator of the adoption agency and is just beaming. And here's a guy who gets adopted, has a great life, could easily be going out and talking to young black kids and saying, you know what? I was just like you. I had issues. So a family adopted me, gave me a chance. You're going to get that chance. Go to orphanages and work with these kids. Get these at-risk kids. That's the ones we used to get adopted. Anyway, when I come back, I want to talk more about the definition of courage. Keep it here.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.